students, so for today I will just give you a brief discussion and explanation on what you will do for your home-based learning there at home about the topic
Factors, multiples, and prime numbers. But for this week, we will focus on the third objective, which is to apply tests of divisibility by 2, 4, 5, 10, 25, and 100. Okay, so let's start. So let's have my first example in here. Divisibility rules. You say divisible by meaning dividing a number without any remainder. Now the question is, how would you know if a number is divisible by 2? So you will just look at the last digit. If the last digit is actually 0 or 2, 4, 6, or 8, okay, so the number is actually divisible by 2. Let's have an example. So this number, 24,456, is divisible by 2 because the last digit is 6. Okay, always remember, if the last digit is actually 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8, that number is divisible by 2. Okay, now what about divisible by 4? How would you know if a number is divisible by 4? Okay, you have to look at the last two digits. If the last two digits is actually divisible by 4, so the number is divisible by 4. So let's have an example. So you have here 102,212. So try to look at the last two digits. Since the last two digits is 1 and 2 and 12 is actually divisible by 4, so this number is actually divisible by 4. Alright, so that is how to test if a number is divisible by 4. Okay, what about a number divisible by 5? Okay, so a number is divisible by 5 if the last digit is either 0 or 5. For example, so we have 75,265. So this number is divisible by 5 because the last digit is 5. So that is how to test if a number is divisible by 5. Okay, so let's have now a number that is divisible by 10, right? So a number is divisible by 10 if the last digit is only 0. Okay, so the last digit must be 0, so the number is actually divisible by 10. Okay, let's have an example. So you have the number here, 7,980. So this number is divisible by 10 because the last digit is 0. Okay, what about a number that is divisible by 25? So you have to look at also the last two digits. If the last two digits is actually divisible by 25, so the number is divisible by 25. Or you could say that the last two digits are actually either 25, 50, or 75. Okay, so the number is actually divisible by 25. So let's have an example in here. So you have here 23,275. Since the last two digits, okay, are actually 7 and 5 or 75. So since 75 is divisible by 25, so this number is divisible by 25. Okay, what about 100? So how would you know if a number is divisible by 100? So the last two digits must be both 0. Okay, so example, 45,600. Alright, so there you go. So that is those are actually the rules of determining if a number is actually divisible by 2. Okay, 4, 5, 10, 25, or 100. Okay. Alright, so let's have practice questions in here. So I will show you a number and then we will try to determine whether a number is divisible by 2, 4, 5, 10, 25, or 100. Okay, so let's have our first number. Okay, so our first number is 32,500. Is it divisible by 2? Yes. Okay, so if the answer is yes, so the number is divisible by 2 because, right, the last digit is 0. Okay, what about divisible by 4? Is it divisible by 4? Yes, that is right. So that is divisible by 4. So since the last two digits are both 0, so you can look at the third digit, which is 5, and you could say that 500, if you divide 500 by 4, there's no any remainder. So therefore, 32,500 is also divisible by 4. Okay, there you go. What about divisible by 5? Okay, so that's right. Okay, so it is correct. So 32,500 is also divisible by 5 because the last digit is 0. Alright, so remember that a number is divisible by 5 if the last digit is either 5 or 0. Okay, of course, it is also divisible by 10, okay, because the last digit is 0. Okay, what about divisible by 25? Yes, it is. Alright, so 32,500 is divisible by 25, okay, because the last two digits are both the zeros. But if you try to look at the third digit, which is also 500, 500 is actually divisible by 25, right? So that's why this number is also divisible by 25. Okay, but what about 100? Yes, it is. It is divisible by 100 because the last two digits are both 0. So therefore, this number, we could say that this number, 13,500, is actually divisible by 2, 4, 5, 10, 25, and 100. Okay, so it's your turn now. So let's have the second number. Okay, the second number is 45,612. Now, just tell me if it is divisible by 2, 4, 5, 10, 25, or 100. Okay, let's start with the first one, divisibility by 2. Yes, that is divisible by 2. That's correct. What about divisible by 4? Yes, absolutely, you are correct, because the last two digits are actually 12, or 1 and 2, which is divisible by 4. Divisible by 5? No, it is not. You are correct. Divisible by 10? It is not. Very good. Okay, what about divisible by 25? No, it isn't. Alright, that's great. Okay, divisible by 100? Of course, it is not. Okay, very good. Okay, so there you go. So let's have the last example. Okay, the last example is 7,500. So try to determine whether this number is divisible by 2, 4, 5, 10, 25, or 100. Let's start with the first one, divisible by 2. Correct, it is divisible by 2. Divisible by 4. Okay, good. It is not divisible by 4. What about divisible by 5? Okay, so it isn't. Okay, it's not divisible by 5. What about divisible by 10? Yes, it is. Okay, very good. What about divisible by 25? It is not divisible by 25. Okay, based on the rules I gave to you. Okay, what about divisible by 100? So it is not. Okay, it's not divisible by 100. Alright, there you go. So that is how to test whether the number is divisible by 2, 4, 5, 10, 25, and 100. So for your HBL today, so what I want you to do is to answer questions 1 to 3 in your pupils book, numbers 1 to 3, page 21 of your pupils book. That is actually under Let's Practice. Okay, and then don't forget to write your name and your class and then submit it to your homeroom. Okay, and then I will check after.
That's all for today. I'll see you again next week. Have a great day and keep safe everyone.